Hey guys, Creator Mom. So, if you've grown up with a narcissistic parent, you may be aware that um, the narcissistic parent always seeks to criticize you and really ultimately just make you feel bad about the way that you are or who you are. They constantly clap at and recognize and complain about the quote unquote negative things about you. And that I can't get over that part in this book, growing up as a scapegoat to a narcissistic parent, that children need parents to recognize them, right? And I think that children need parents to recognize them positively, to bring out those gifts that they have so that they can find out who they are in the world and live out who they are. Anyways, I feel like when you have a narcissistic parent, all they're recognizing is your quote unquote flaws. So these are the things that kind of torment you in your adult life. Because those are the things that were recognized about you, right? I'm so messy. I'm so disorganized. When am I going to get it together? I suck at this. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough is the constant message. And maybe, I don't know, maybe there's people out there who had good enough, very good enough parents, healthy parents, and they still have that issue. I don't know if it would be to the degree. But when you're raised by a narcissistic parent, it's almost to the degree that if you even do accomplish anything, you don't even acknowledge what you do accomplish. You see that as, you don't give yourself credit for it even. So you don't give yourself credit for the things you actually do. And all that's running through your mind is, I'm not good enough, all the shit that you're like bad at. And rarely do you think about the things that you're like truly good at, because you don't even know what you're good at. It's almost like that part of you has been covered up or something to be rediscovered at a later date. Anyways, in this chapter here, he's talking about showing off. And the questions that are asked at the beginning of this chapter, 46, are: were you often told that expressions of pride were bragging? Did your narcissistic parent withhold affirmation or actively shame you for expressing pride? Did your narcissistic parent treat you like you had nothing to be proud of? I think that last one is really true. And not just growing up, even into the present day. And then when they do give you some kind of compliment or something, that's scary also, because there might be a devalue coming afterwards. There might be a but. There probably is going to be a but. All right. I just want to read this short paragraph here. He says, Heinz Kahut said that kids are seeking to use their parents as good enough mirrors for who they are in the world. When the parent responds frequently enough with empathic resonance, appreciation, and support, the child gets to identify an act of showing off as a signal of who they are. Over time and repetition, such interactions grow to build a positive sense of self. And another part I highlighted is: the narcissistically abusive parent starts with a core sense of worthlessness that has to be relocated onto others so that they can more effectively deny these feelings to themselves and insist on their opposite, insist that they're actually superior and become super entitled and they demand things. It is a fragile arrangement that needs others to constantly reflect back their specialness. that makes sense to me because in my life, it's funny, like I picked up on these things about my mother, but I didn't know it was narcissism. I didn't know it was a, whole like thing. But, I always said like, man, she's so needy. She's so needy. She needed she needed me to reflect back her specialness. And when I didn't, I was called cold, right? Like I'm a cold bitch, like my grandmother. She wanted lots of hugs that I didn't feel like I wanted to give. Because I sensed a neediness. And I just felt uncomfortable, I just didn't want to. So instead of being respected for my choice of not wanting to, do displays of affection or anything, I was called a name for it. So there's that. And I think that's all I'm going to share here in this video. Then he goes on to talk about chapter 47, stop self-punishment. Oh, let me read the questions for this. It says, do you feel low or down after periods of feeling good, proud, or effective? Do you feel like you have done or are doing something wrong, even though you cannot point to anything? Do you carry around a sense that the other shoe is going to drop? That it's a matter of when and not if? Then he says, self-punishment can become a survival tactic. Yeah. All right. I might make another video. We'll see.